Hello everybody, my name is Thea, Fotia, and welcome to Ace Attorney Investigations collection. We're continuing off where we left off, from right where we left off in the last video. My dog is so cute, she's so fluffy. What's the reader? Some accolades are not obtained if you enable story mode. Autoplay automatically progresses through the game when enabled, including answering questions and presenting evidence. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bride snuck into your office using the master key. Is it now? Are you sure Miss Bride is the only member of security who could have used the master key? There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she is. Isn't that right, Miss Bride? Oh, that's true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir. Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean, unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her and not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bride out? Ask for more details. Not so fast. I, too, am interested in hearing what Miss Bride has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies. I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bride, if you please. I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 AM, sir. What do you mean by missing? As in, it wasn't there in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsman, I believe this is an important piece of testimony, don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir. Objection! If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you had the master key now. I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. Likely story. And where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it, and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it. Yeah, pal, trust me, you don't want to test us how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But... We still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelf and at least tried the safe. It is as Mr. Foreman says, Detective. Hold on a sec. She couldn't have known about the safe because only detectives, high prosecutors know. But I'm done taking blows. It's time for a counterattack with a few facts of my own. Her intent from the messed up shells and the white down safe, if I'd say thievery. I don't even need to press for this. I'll still press anyway, because I'm a little unsure right now. I concur the culprit's motives appear to have been thievery. However, glad to hear that the great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regards to the investigation of the bookshelves and the safe, hey, good thinking. Ask for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence? I want to know how she knows this before I try presenting other stuff. Is there anyone in the district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never thought I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breath, you know. For when you screw up so badly that you're literally chased off the force. Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Phew, don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. Hi, Natalia. I see you standing here. What? Do you need something? Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bride was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they're looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah, even I didn't know about the safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses, why? What made you? What's with that angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault. What do you mean? It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him I put him on the secret safes. Then that means, yeah, I know. I had only just told him, too. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief. And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bride. Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job, but killing is going a bit too far. Even if in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murderer? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way. Hi, Natalia. Wait for everything to make sense. Has he no honor? Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You are all suspects to varying degrees and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit. Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But, sir, We have no choice but to accommodate his request, for now. Aha, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Humph, mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. If that's a formal request for the legendary prosecutor himself, but then I suppose so. Now don't disappoint me, you hear? To be continued. Save your progress? Yes. Why is there a ball? What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True, so then what now? Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bride. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking for anyway. Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bride is related to the Master Key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. This is what is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir. I heard he plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. Not a single one of those sports is supposed to be played in a hallway. This office. 1203. Hey Maggie, who's this room again? It's Mr. Portsman, sir. So he's my new neighbor, I see. I suppose he moved in a while ago while I was overseas. What is a basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be just outside the next building a long time ago? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? I heard that it just wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself all the way up to the 12th floor. Looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find and apprehend and punish the killer accordingly, post-haste. Sounds like a messy case you've got your hands on. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? Is everything alright? Yes, sir. You must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 154 pounds. Congratulations, but I'm asking about this hallway in this room. Oh, everything's okay, sir. A word of advice, stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight. I won't rest until I've respected every suspicious nook and cranny. A minimal yet classy door of top quality. It's sturdily made, making it nearly impossible to break in by force. It's almost majestic, sir. I wish I could be as stately as this door. Only Gumshoe would praise a door as something greater than himself. Being a detective, it has its own rewards and a certain virtuous value, I think. If you live up to your full potential, that's a poignant trait that anyone could admire. I see. So you're saying, sir, that me being me is the best thing I can do for everyone. Right. That long pause wasn't exactly reassuring, sir. 1202. Those 4 numbers on a plate alone proclaim this is my office. Whoops. Hey, these number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know? Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... and see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir. Meaning the door was really opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind. Morris until I've inspected every suspicious nook and cranny. The book! It's, isn't this the missing O series file, sir? No doubt about it, the bloody letters mark it as clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing. The thief only took what was necessary and left the rest behind. So what are these O files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the case within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they are. And that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. A well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about a luxurious waiting area. These babies are also great for napping, you know. You would sleep even out here, detective, in a hallway. Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony on the stand. But I always end up the same way. Me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometimes, to envision myself winning naturally. Now then. Still says that there's something here. What? I was wondering if I may speak to you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her with X. The victim. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith is always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir. Sounds like fun. Just once I'd love to play with them. Sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass the ball to him, sir. Second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with them. Is Maggie Bride correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started going downhill, so she quit. But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employment. So I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night. You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old, when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal just when I've become a security guard. That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know, and just when I thought I had finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bride. Nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. Let's jog your memory with the master key. So when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir? And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those two times it was not just gone, but stolen, sir. Why is such an important key in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that that was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge. She used the master key? Use the master key? What did you mean by use the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as security guard, right? Ah, what is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bride, quickly. It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security. And that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way. It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portman to his office and opened the door for him personally. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office? Yeah, you can't mistake it because of the basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me, Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 1202 really badly, but since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir. So why was Mr. Portman so particular about getting room 1202? I'm not sure, but I bet it's because something like his birthday is December 2nd. Yep, that's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. But why am I wasting my time with him? The door is locked tight. I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor, Detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha. So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you just bought it from. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. This Mr. Portsman's personal basketball hoop. I can't believe he put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I hadn't gotten I was trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office and yet you still managed to get lost? Hmm. You look rather intrigued by something. Care to share? Oh, it's nothing, but I noticed that Mr. Pressman calls his partner Jim. And the detective in that Sunday night drama, All My Cops, is named Jim too. I bet one of them is a big fan of that show. Seem to know a little something about it yourself. I take it you watch it too? Of course! The tight bond of friendship between prosecutor and detective is great, sir. But it's nothing compared to the super strong friendship we have. Ho ho ho. Friendship, detective? I think you're mistaking it with pity. How can you say that, sir? And after all we've been through, too. Friendship or pity award? I was wondering about the investigation. I've been waiting for this. Let a real seasoned pro teach you how it's done. A real seasoned pro? Of instant noodle cuisine, perhaps? You know that you can always check out the really important spots in more detail, right? Yes. And if the area is too big, you can always use the right stick to take a closer look. Oh, but don't worry, the right stick command will only show up when you need it. I knew that as well. And when you think there's a contradiction or something, try deduction. Then press X and choose your poison. Evidence. When you've settled on a piece, you gotta present it with X again. Pretty sure I already knew that as well, detective. And welcome to the world of pros. IW Ace Investigator. Class dismissed. And all I wanted was an update about the investigation. It's really tiny compared to my police badge. Oh, but it's really cool, sir. Much, much cooler than my badge could ever be. There's no need to suck up to me, detective. Poor Gumshoe. Wait. There's a contradiction here. Miss Bride, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story. What? No way, pal. I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30, correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time. Wow, nothing gets past you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgotten about all that. But thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right, it was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his office, up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never relocked the door then. Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Hold on a sec. The door is locked. Meaning. This wasn't the door that Miss Bride unlocked. Huh? You know, you're right. Miss Bride, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the master key, have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bride opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door, but how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... we need to examine these. Prints on the number plate. The prints on the number plate. They will tell us all we need to know. Everything? Really? Like what, sir? Like... Prints on the master key? I already know the prints on the door were wiped off, though. Only 2 people's prints were found. Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on this doorknob as well. Now then, whose print should be on the doorknob? Maggie Bride's should be on.
Take that!
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean... yes, the door that Miss Bride opened could not have been this one, but a different one. What have we here? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious nook and cranny. I'm gonna investigate this. Yes, sir, he's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, gumshoe... blah. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis, it doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. Hi, Natalia. You can go back to what you were doing. This is the point. You should be focusing on, detective. You're right, sir. Now I know what I should be focusing on. Bad, Mr. Portsman. Someone should teach him how to clean up his toys after he's done playing. I think we've reached the end of this conversation. What is this? Look at looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. I bought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone. But it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman. No left by victim. Oh, would you look at that? That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made it a seriously sweet slam dunk. The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I'd better take note of this. Investigation complete! Yeah! I don't know what that bar was. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. But how so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The master behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it. That's exactly why my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on Truth's door. Natalia, you're such a cool pupper. Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letters, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Okay, looking good. You there, take care of this. Rah! Well, if it is a Detective Gumshoe, end of the line for you, Mr. Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay, if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? Humph, I can see right through the unsightly, paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Haha. Who would have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves? Even though you have yet to prove anything. Mr. Portsman's rebuttal. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad for doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusations on. With evidence. Mr. Portman's rebuttal.
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? You claim to have no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Haha. Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door. No. You used, the master key, of course. I believe you were able to open my door with the master key, no less. Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door. With the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bride to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah. I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bride open at that time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir. See? Miss Bride backs up my story too, yeah. What if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Ha! And how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example? That's right. They do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give you a very strong impression that the door she was opening was yours, and not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bride think that it was his room? It was, of course, the basketball hoop.
Take that!
What, the basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. Yeah, that's very true, sir. But there was a basketball hoop sitting right there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop had been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture's a little off the racetrack. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. Right after that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. There's two contradictions with that testimony. One, your office door wouldn't have been locked. Two, that note. I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket, and Miss Bride is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who's the one truly covered in slime here. I'm enjoying this so much. First, now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. Are you sure? Using the master key, of course. Sure, you have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you. Objection. I had your door dusted for prints. My door? Huh? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right. I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bride's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Ack. Further, all of the prints on my office door and this knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bride's fingerprints were on it. But it doesn't change the fact that I was in my room the entire time. Is that really a fact or is it fictional? Hey, why would I lie to you? I have here proof that you were not in your room the entire time as you claim. And it is note left by the victim.
Take that!
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Ah! Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole it into my office with the intent of stealing something. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said, when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. Hmm? And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all. And he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as well. Eh? I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office, like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied with work-related matters, although that's no excuse. You okay, Natalia? You okay? You okay? Here, get some pets. Cute baby. Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. But you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edris. Back me up here, sir. Yeah, Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he simply didn't overlook it. But I have other evidence that can prove that you're guilty, sir. Ha ha ha. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. Portsman's alibi. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will collaborate with my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like, you'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe? Yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see? All the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Let's press him some more. Hold on a sec. You're correct, it was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. Give me a minute. Let me scritch your tail. Let me scritch it. There you go. Better? Okay. Better? Time for scritchies. Here, hold on. There we go. You wanna bite my hands? Well, not bite, but nom. No? You're such a good baby. 28 more minutes and I'll be done. How's that? Deal. Actually, 9 more minutes and I'll be done. Or till this thing's done. Then it was, press edit.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however... Quiet down, baby. Quiet down. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. She's chasing your tail. Such a good baby. Huh. Hold it. So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit. Yep. Right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Ask around.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See? I had the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeves. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line. Get off this crazy train. You there. Sir, please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Lit. Detective Gumshoe? Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue, did I miss something that can help cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, with logic. Hold on. Evidence points to the shelves being disturbed once before and once after the murder. But who's to say that the person who did it the second time is the same as the first? Which could mean there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. And that another person had a gun. If indeed there were two culprits, then that resolves the contradiction behind our murder weapon. Despite the fact that there were only 2 bullets here in this room. The murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, leaving the possibility that the other bullet was fired from the other visitor's gun. Furthermore, if we suppose the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back,
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you going to say? Inga. This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I'd assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice, and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bride and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, do you? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Grr. Now then, returning to my scenario. Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed someone's coming from my office, which would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check. Correct, and as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because he was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, and the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left a fake dying message. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another? A visitor, sir? Yes, and by this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. They stole 0 file. Right, sir? Correct. Only, just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because of 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Face Killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. Ha 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 ha. What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all. But, you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Grr, Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect, that is, if your theory is so correct? That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but I've already said I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So, you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course, now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. Hold on! Hold on, Natalia. Yes, I hear you. Ruff, ruff. The thief you ran into should be the real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but I already said I was training in my room. Actually... would it be this one? No, it'd be this one.
Hold it.
Let's press first. But according to Mr. Face, no. Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have proof that he left it at a different time, say, just before he was murdered? I don't have any, no. You see? So if I insist again that it was in my office the entire time. Okay. You insist. Which will be your downfall. Your door.
Objection.
It would behoove you to take a good look at this. I see it, but I fail to see how it has anything to do with me. Oh. Actually, no, I wouldn't. But why not? That's elementary, the dying message, of course. Mr. Face Killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on their way, on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the O files, right? And that's how we know that the letters themselves were a setup, and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Or maybe the killer just didn't think of that either? Yes, that must be it. Maybe just maybe?
Hold it!
Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief. Ah, it's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all.
Hold it!
Bitcoin. Oh. Oh?
Hold it!
Hold it. Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallways. He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of the evidence he brought? They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too critical to let it through the cracks. A gun and a pendant. Yes. This gun, which was the murder weapon, and this pendant, which belonged to the victim. And why were you taking them to criminal affairs? There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two. Who to? I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be your satisfaction. This is all matching up with what Detective Gumshoe found out. Hold on a sec, actually. You think it's so easy to take a life with just a pull of a trigger. Oh, but I love the ones they use at track and field meets to start races. If you take off before it's fired, everyone else ends up following your lead. To chase you down for a false start, detective. Now that you mention it, even when I finish first, I always wind up in last place. Can't expect you to know, can I? Nope, but I guess you can expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions. Oh, then let's see what you deduce. I know what you have. You have a sock! You little rascal, you! Let's see you deduce. Jim waited for me to leave and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking into your room, of course. And that's when Miss Bride caught him red-handed. And the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I had laid out earlier. I know he's lying. I know he was there at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. Hmm. Hold on. I'm gonna try this. Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from you. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece. I think you should read it carefully. Ah, it says that Mr. Face was bringing 3 pieces of evidence. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe, to get tripped up by simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe, you don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. What? Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail for the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Blood. Ah, that's blood, isn't it? Yes. And I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Face blood? No. You've got it all wrong. Humph. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now will you tell us when and how the victim's blood find its way onto this video? Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this video tape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? Gah. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I'm... The way he ate that metal. He's gonna have indigestion later. High Prosecutor's Office. Room 1202. Why didn't they take the blood letters? Or that? The sportsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back, and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please, accept my apologies. Why did they not take the murder weapon? If they took that as evidence there. Oh, it was really nothing, really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Who that guy is a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? That Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance of this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edwards, sir. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? The great thief everyone's talking about? Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end. A modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. That word, news, special edition. Yatagarasu haunts embassy. The noble Yatagarasu, vigilante of the business world, reappears. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. Yatagarasu reappears, corporate dealings exposed. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The thief is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu last appeared. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the files was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu, organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. Hey, everything's back to normal! The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Hey! What's that? Oh god. Hold on. Natalia almost hurt herself. I'm glad she doesn't have a tendency of chewing cables. She only has a tendency of putting them in her mouth and holding them. Which isn't that good, but it's better than chewing them and trying to eat them. Good girl for not eating the cable. I don't mind that you pulled it out. I'm just glad you didn't eat it. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming, for they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. The end. Looks like we're gonna save. Yeah. Turnabout visitor. Now that I've saved, we go here. So you don't get to see anything extra. Sorry for you to leave you off like that. But it is the end of an episode. So thank you for watching. I know this was a longer video. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You don't have to comment if you don't want to. You don't have to like if you don't want to. All I ask is please subscribe if you like the content, because it lets me know to make more.